Hey crochet friends, would you like to make this gorgeous scarf named the Bubblegum Scarf?
Well, now you can with this crochet tutorial.
Please join me in making this very pretty pastel scarf that will be fabulous to keep you warm through the winter months, while adding some beautiful bright colour on grey winter days. Included in the tutorial are step-by-step instructions to make the bubblegum scarf, with a very simple but beautifully textured stitch combination. It's a very enjoyable and relaxing project to make that doesn't take too long to work up, and it's one of those projects that you can put down and pick up anytime. So you can enjoy cosy crochet evenings while you learn this new stitch combination and improve your crochet skills and your speed.
And once you've made the bubblegum scarf, you'll have a gorgeous new accessory for your wardrobe or a beautiful gift for a loved one.
Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. I'm Pauline from Making Polly,
And I'm delighted you could join me for this crochet accessory tutorial.
For this tutorial you will need any double knit, which is light worsted weight yarn,
In your preferred colour or colours.
I have used Yarnsmith's Pebble Haze Prince yarn in two colours, Saltburn and Lilworth.
You can of course use one colour if you prefer.
You will also need a 4mm crochet hook, which is a G6 in US terminology. And you will also need scissors for cutting your yarn, a tapestry needle for sewing in your ends, a measuring tape, and a pom-pom maker. You can of course use a homemade pom-pom maker instead. I've included all material information in the description so you can refer to it also. Just before starting, I will give all instructions in the tutorial in both UK and US terminology. So now let's get started.
And I'm starting with the Saltburn colour.
Firstly, with your yarn, make a slip knot.
If required, you can refer to my how to make a slip knot tutorial.
And you'll find the link in the description. Then insert your hook in the loop, ready to make a foundation chain. You can also refer to my how to make a foundation chain,
and the link is also in the description. Work an odd number of chains to the width that you would like your scarf to be. And keep your tension loose while working your foundation chain, or use a slightly bigger crochet hook to work your foundation chain.
I worked a total of 49 chains. And the width of my scarf is 21.5 centimetres, which is 8.5 inches.
Now with our 4mm crochet hook, let's start working row 1. Work a slip stitch into the third chain from the hook.
The two missed chains count as
1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet.
In the next chain,
work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet. In the next chain, again work a slip stitch. And in the next chain, again work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet. Continue along row 1, repeating the sequence of 1 slip stitch, then 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, to the end of the row. You can pause the video here to do so. And as you've worked an odd number of chains for the foundation chain, you should end the row on a slip stitch. And at the end of row 1 you will have an even number of stitches, which is one less than the number of chains you worked in the foundation chain, and includes the two missed chains at the very beginning. I have a total of 48 stitches. Now we will turn our work to start row 2. First chain 2, which counts as 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet. Then skip the first slip stitch and work a slip stitch into the next stitch, which is a UK half treble stitch, which is US half double stitch from the previous row. Then work 1 UK half treble stitch, which is 1 US half double stitch, into the next stitch, which is the slip stitch from the previous row. Then work another slip stitch into the next stitch, which again is a UK half treble stitch, which is US half double stitch from the previous row. Then again work 1 UK half treble stitch, which is 1 US half double stitch, into the next stitch, which is a slip stitch from the previous row. Continue along the row to the end, working a slip stitch into the UK half treble stitches, which is US half double stitches from the previous row, and working 1 UK half treble stitch, which is 1 US half double stitch, into the slip stitches from the previous row. You will start to see the texture detail of this stitch combination, which are small diagonal dashed lines on both sides of your work. You can pause the video here to work to the end of the row. And at the end of the row, again you will work a slip stitch into the first skipped chain of the foundation chain. And at the end of row 2, you will have the same number of stitches you had at the end of row 1.
So I have 48 stitches.
Again, turn your work to begin row 3.
And row 3 is a repeat of row 2. So first chain 2, which counts as 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet. Then skip the first stitch, which is a slip stitch from the previous row, and then work a slip stitch into the next stitch, which is a UK half treble crochet, which is US half double crochet from the previous row. Then work a UK half treble crochet, which is US half double crochet, into the next stitch, which is a slip stitch from the previous row. Then, as before, continue along the row to the end, working a slip stitch into the UK half treble stitches, which is US half double stitches from the previous row, and working 1 UK half treble stitch, which is 1 US half double stitch, into the slip stitches from the previous row. You can pause the video here to continue to the end of the row. And as before, at the end of the row, again you will work a slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 at the beginning of the previous row. And at the end of row 3, you will again have the same number of stitches you had at the end of row 1 and row 2. Then turn your work, and from here on onwards, continue to repeat row 2 and then turning again. The number of rows you will work will depend on how long you would like your scarf to be. With the saltburn colour, I have worked a total of 251 rows, and the length is 114.5 centimetres, which is roughly 45 inches, which is half the length I want my scarf to be. You can pause the video here to continue working your rows. At the end of the 251st row, I have changed to the Lulworth colour on the last slip stitch of the row, but of course it's entirely up to you if you would rather work with one colour for the entire scarf. To change the colour, I have done so on the last yarn over of that stitch. Then again turn your work and continue on creating the other half of the scarf, repeating row 2 and then turning again over and over until you have worked the same length as the first half of the scarf and the same number of rows. You can pause the video here to continue working your rows. At the end of working the Lulworth colour, I have again worked 251 rows, and I have matched the length of the first half of the scarf at 114.5 centimetres, which is roughly 45 inches. Finish the last row as before, then cut your yarn and pull your end through. And we will now gather the end of the scarf, ready to place a pom-pom in the end. So thread the end of your yarn onto your tapestry needle. Then start weaving the end through the stitches from one side to the other and back again, and continue working to the end of the row. You can pause the video here to do so. And when you've worked to the end of the row, pull your yarn end tight to gather all the end together. Then weave your end back to the other end of the row to pull it all together to a point. Sew in your end and you have now completed one end of the scarf. Repeat the process at the other end of the scarf using a short length of the matching colour. And now we can move on to making our pom-poms. If you are using this type of pom-pom maker, join the two sides together so that the bumps on one side fit into the holes on the other side, and creating the gap between both sides. Then start to wrap your yarn around one half of the pom-pom maker. Continue wrapping evenly until you have quite a bulky half of the pom-pom. You can pause the video here to do so. And now repeat on the other half of the pom-pom maker. So again, wrap evenly around the second half of the pom-pom maker until you've created another bulky half, which is equal to the first half. Then close over the clips at both sides to secure the pom-pom maker and so that you are ready to cut your yarn to create your pom-pom. Then cut your yarn in two all the way around, using the space between the two sides of the pom-pom maker. You can pause the video here to do so.
Then before removing the pom-pom maker, we will tie all the yarn ends together using a length of the same yarn. Place the yarn into the space between on the pom-pom maker, pull tight and tie a knot. And to secure in place, I like to wrap the yarn around a couple of times, crossing over each other and tying a couple more knots. Then once you are happy that the yarn ends for the pom-pom are securely tied in place, you can then go ahead and open the clips and remove the pom-pom maker. You can then tidy your pom-pom by fluffing it and using your scissors to cut stray ends and to shape it slightly better. Be careful not to cut the ends of the length of yarn that we use to tie the knots, and we will use them to attach it to the scarf. I decided to attach the pom-pom that was made with the saltburn colour to the end of the scarf that was finished with the Lulworth colour. So thread one of the ends onto your tapestry needle and attach to the very bottom of the scarf where we've gathered the end. Then thread the other end onto the tapestry needle and do the same. Pull the ends tight through and check that you're happy with the location of your pom-pom, then tie the ends in a knot, ensuring that it is tight and secure, and then sew in your ends. Then for the other end of the scarf, make another pom-pom in the same way as before, and join it in the same way as before. I have used the Lulworth colour for the second pom-pom to join onto the end of the scarf that is in the Saltburn colour. Well done, crochet friend, you have now finished making your bubblegum scarf. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun crochet tutorial. I really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've loved designing the bubblegum scarf, and I would really appreciate it if you liked and shared this video and left me a comment. And please don't forget to subscribe for more fun and informative crochet tutorials. Happy crocheting!